Hello folks, welcome or welcome back. My name is Dina. Let's go ahead and do just one more reading today. I wanted to get just a state of the matter type reading. So I also want to get into some of the tarot for the day. Let's see, what energies are we talking about now? What information needs to step forward? First one out, interestingly, is father issues with young female under the deck. Before we start to make any assumptions, let's get out a little bit more energy. Okay, we have reassess your reasons for busyness, prioritize your goals. There can be some grief or depression. I don't know if some of you have a father figure in spirit, or if there's been some type of disappointment in this father over time. I also see light features, eyes, hair, complexion. Could also be white or gray hair. Could also talk about your own. And then we have a pile here. It says, I need stability, a best friend and lover, partners, earth. Something stable, structured. So this can also talk, because it's right below the father issues, it can talk about the financial well-being of the early family, or the authority, the way that people rule. Something, maybe even for some of you, your father was kind of like your best friend. It doesn't always have to be an issue with their toxicity. So we see soul retrieval too, with I need freedom, and addiction, self-medicate. Okay, this makes sense. So whether your father was the best guy ever, or worst guy ever, or complete ghost, is almost irrelevant. We've all got some type of complexity around the father issues in our life based on our navigation of any type of authority, whether it's our own authority, our own personal self-control, and those type of things. Those are ways that we utilize our choice and our will and our alignment, and the way that we structure and create and invoke. And so when we have things such as we've got out here, it's like somebody here is creating their own type of, sometimes I resist saying the words that I want to say. It looks like somebody is self-medicating here with the addiction. It doesn't need to be substances. It can be through even reading romance novels for somebody, or getting on YouTube, or watching TV too much, or food. One of the most overutilized ways of self-medicating, which can become poison in its own way if we eat the wrong junk. We've somehow, someone here, it doesn't have to be us, somebody here has slid into some comfort, discomfort zone where they've kind of lost their own freedom from this thing, whether it's, again, gambling or anything else, social media, some type of narrative, some type of alignment with a toxic leader or something type as that. We can see that there's a need to create freedom from this addiction, from this habit pattern here. And as we are trying to reclaim our freedom, or they are, or we're trying to help others through helping them to stabilize their life, to root deeply into something solid and time trusted here, it's like we can see the need for, okay, with addictions, you kind of lose pieces of yourself as you start saying, well, no, I'm not going to eat that healthy snack. I'm just going to go for the chocolate cake. And yeah, I could call my friends and have a a good conversation that would help me heal this feeling of grief or depression, but I'm just gonna, keep on feeling bad and, keep on sitting here in my misery type of a thing. It's like when we stop, and I don't mean to make anyone's situation seem less than it is, but with this type of energy, we can also get into this feeling of guilt and shame and pity and victimization mode. Um, so there's that energy coming through for somebody. And this isn't to say that anyone is weak or anyone is stronger, but that through consistent choices that didn't serve the highest, there's been a dependency created here. And it could even be with a toxic boss, like the need to have this job that pays the bills, something such as that. Let's see if we get anything else here before we get into the tarot. There's a need to reclaim your power from something that is draining or sucking your energy. Dissipated energy leaves you feeling apathetic and somewhat empty. You feel like home. It's time to come back home to yourself or this person. Take it out. It resonates. Cognitive dissonance, mind over matter. Sometimes it's difficult to make the initial few changes and choices, but it's just as easy to have a pack of apples in the fridge or carrots and grab a few pieces of fruits or vegetables, whatever your choice would be, than it is to grab a granola bar. But clearly the nutritional benefits are different, and so on. You get it. Same thing with drinking. I know that sometimes everybody has their own thing. I'm somebody who I will openly admit, judge if you will. It will make no difference to me. I judge myself enough. Ever since my mother passed away, I am less and less comfortable with my use of alcohol. And I can see how this operates in my own life. I'm not what I would consider an alcoholic by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not dependent upon it, but it's taken an unrealistic position of preference in my life. So when I come back in from working so hard in the yard or whatever else, I'm like, oh, it sounds good, a drink. Or, I'm out in the yard still. And if I'm out in the yard, I'm clearly thirsty and looking to replenish electrolytes on some level. But my brain has said, oh, but there's this reward for hard work in this pattern, this ritualistic thing that feels like I got a gold star when I get my drink at the end of the day. So whatever this is, could be gaming, could be porn for some of you, whatever it is, it's creating an imbalance perhaps in your home life here, and it is somewhat difficult to choose differently. So one of the things that I have helped myself to do. Oh, and here's another thing too. So speaking of addiction, I'm an ex-cigarette smoker. I smoked for about 10 years and I was unsuccessful at quitting during that time until I finally did it. And I haven't smoked cigarettes since then. However, there's this other smoking that comes, it's legal in my state. And so there are many times where I find that because of a ritualistic urge, perhaps just for deep breathing, really, if you think about it, when you're inhaling the cigarette or the vape or the whatever, it's like really the body is wanting to relax, to restabilize. And why would you want an amphetamine to relax? Well, in the other case, some of them can be relaxants, but it's about the breath in the body. And so we can practice deep breathing. We can go with the oral fixation argument where maybe we just need something to chew on, like gum. A sour candy worked for me pretty well. Drinking more liquids in general helps us to feel less thirsty. Drinking healthier things can help us to avoid. I've also got kombucha that I brew. Kombucha has that bit of effervescence. It's got the bite, the sourness. It has a distinct flavor. And since I brew my own, I can tweak it. I can put ginger and cayenne in some if I want to boost my immunity. I can put some apples and cinnamon in another one if I want it to be a bit sweeter. I can dilute it just a little bit with water if it's too much for me, or with a little apple cider. That's pretty good. There are things that we can do, and sometimes it's easier when we introduce healthy habits, or a healthy fruit or vegetable, or putting a salad alongside every meal if it's food that's your thing. The gut brain wants something, and so if we can kind of go through and say, what is it that I'm accomplishing? Is it a reward and punishment thing? Is it to self-medicate from a feeling of disconnection, isolation, loneliness, grief, despair? Is it just a habit? Is it because we're dehydrated and this seems like fun? There's so many reasons. Or just the need to integrate and to disconnect because the world can be so challenging. But if we add in healthier habits, and also another thing I've often talked about recently is many of us, we're on our phones right now, many of us, we get stuck in the algorithm. We get stuck looking for constant stimulation, and the faster moving it gets, like if you're on TikTok particularly, it's like instant stimulation, go, go, go. Every couple of seconds, something new. We can take back our own inner alignment by introducing things such as music. Music has been coming forward so powerfully recently, where when we finally stop the scroll, because I can find myself watching something and also scrolling and not even paying attention at different times when I'm in that zone. And then I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And so then it's up to me. I can push back by getting away from it. But then the brain is like, I wonder what's going on online. But when you have music, your mind is in the zone, you know? So there's something here about taking that back. Taurus at the bottom of the deck. Of course, you may be watching this in a timeless manner down the road, but Taurus, we have a Taurus full moon coming up on November 15th, and it's a powerful time of releasing bad behaviors that create any type of disconnection between breath and body, between body and health. And so we may find ourselves pulling back from the busyness, needing to reclaim ourselves from something, some distraction or routine or something such as that, and getting back into our self-care routine, making better decisions. 4444, I love it. That's the number for me of the angels, archangels, divine. Then it says, I never told you. And we've got the sign of Virgo, loyalty, karmic cycle, and leader, entrepreneur, trendsetter, boss, getting advice from friends. Yeah, a few more cards under here. Legalities, possibly. It looks like that kind of could take me in a few directions. So I think we'll discontinue with this deck after this. Gratitude. Yeah, okay. So the last message I'll put out there, Earth Star Chakra, unity. I think once we start to make better decisions, when we start to feel better, then there's not as much of a pull or an allure to getting into those bad things. Here's another thing that I have done recently in my own personal journey and at different times in my life where I feel myself sliding back into the bad habits. Then it's like I need to get back on the ball. Doing it by myself is harder, but if I have something like what they'll sometimes call as an accountability buddy, where somebody comes along on your journey and helps you stay accountable, like, um, if you are trying not to drink, you could go to meetings. You could be around people that aren't out at the bar. I mean, why go to the bar if you're trying not to drink or things like that? And so, shoot, where was I going with that? Uh, Working out. Working out was also something, when you work out, you create natural endorphins. And for some of us, cardio is not going to be the answer. It puts our body under too much stress. Our body isn't used to it. Cardio can make some individuals with certain body types pack on additional pounds because it stresses the body and we hold on to um, things instead. So maybe for you, it looks like taking a good walk. Maybe for you, it just looks like doing a little bit of stretching a couple times a day, or doing deep breathing, or getting out in the sunlight. There are all kinds of things, but getting out of the false harmonic nesting resonance with the material, with the electromagnetic smog that kind of threatens to um, veil us from the real life, the real miracles surrounding us, getting back into our earth, into the unity consciousness. It's like if we shame ourselves, like, oh, you've let yourself go, then it's less motivating to get back in order. But if you say, okay, well, realistically, I can accept this is the reality. However, at the same time, I can respect my ability to just make simple, everyday little changes. Every time you say no to backsliding, you're saying yes to yourself. And so it's not about um, not having the good things that you want. One of my friends sometimes says that, she doesn't have the money that she wants to have, and so she can't afford her habits, and then she can't have this or that, and she can't go out and have a good time. And it's like the more that she gets back into that corner, the less connected she is with her gratitude, and the more she's connected with her urge and longing for the thing that's actually self-destructive. Where if we say, okay, there's a reason that my lifestyle has generated the outcome that I can't afford this particular indulgence, perhaps. And maybe it's to get self-reliance. Maybe it's to clear up my addiction and create some type of clarity at this moment. Maybe it's because I need to pay attention to some other aspect or element, or introduce something else that can be cooperatively balancing and bring me into my own personal healing. Let's get some Akashic Tarot in this case. I hope that you guys aren't too triggered by the messages. It is what it is. I'm trying to be right here alongside you and not judging, because all we need is judgment when we find ourselves in a situation that doesn't align with our highest. Absolutely beautiful. The first two that come out, two major arcana, the number 10 and the number 14. So 14 is the Count Saint Germain initiation, and the Count Saint Germain. You're becoming aware of your potential to change, to transmute any lower energies such as addiction or anything such as that into something higher. Your potential for change is supported, and you're being initiated. You're being made aware of something so that you can transmute it and move forward. And divinely, we must encounter the misuse or misdirection of our will and our attention from time to time so that we can understand how to lead others out of the darkness with the light that we're able to regenerate and reclaim the power in our soul here to come back into the light of our home. So then the light of the world is what's crossing you. This individual here knocking on your door. It's like you're in your cave here, perhaps indulging in whatever it is, being busy at work. Even workaholism is also a function of addiction. Over succeeding, over crushing it day to day. What is it all for? You can't take that with you. The light of the world comes knocking to ask us to reevaluate the use of our energy and what we hope to accomplish and how to realign our focus and goals so that we can be somebody who makes ourselves proud. Under the deck, Archangel Gabriel. Yes, Archangel Gabriel is the one that is often blowing the trumpet of judgment, resurrecting our energies, calling us back into our soul essence and alignment, waking us up to ascend our energies. So beautiful. So some more cards here. 8 of Keys, the Master Artisan. You have a lot of skills, talents, and capacity to leverage yourself here. This is the initiation process. I think that you're becoming aware of something, either workaholism or your commitment to some type of endeavor or workplace dynamic or something like that. The way that you're either getting your money or spending your money, the types of things that you're supporting with your money, your voice, and so on, are coming up for review. And here we go. Number 13 is the one right before Count Saint Germain. This is your hopes and aspiration card. The Buddha prepares. You're being prepared, and you're preparing, cleansing, clearing your energy, witnessing your potential to change, and introducing a healthy new dynamic, something that honors your body, your vessel, your connection to Mother Earth, and creating a powerful change for yourself. In the recent past, we've got 3 of Keys, the chess game. This is an anticipation, and this is more like that strategy, tactical, the reward and punishment game, the hierarchical, the manipulation, being able to understand the social games and the manipulation games and how to succeed socially while meanwhile longing for a different type of a lifestyle. You can take back your power from this, and that looks like what's going on. It's like that straw that broke the camel's back here with somebody being laid low. I don't know if somebody has questioned things that have been engaged in, as far as even their safety and the impact that it has upon your house, your home, your livelihood, your family, and your relatives, or the actions of another upon that here. And you're calling something out, you're reintroducing the light, you're preparing yourself for a big move, and to hold greater light. I think that you're being called to be a more powerful and inspired individual, a more spiritually driven individual here. And you're being asked to detox mind, body, spirit, soul, so that you can embody the light in a more full capacity. And finally, we have Queen of Roses coming in the near future. This is a realignment with the beauty of the divine feminine, whether we are masculine or feminine. This is connecting with our inner femininity, our inner intuition, our instincts, intuition, the earth itself, being nurtured, self-care, the feeling space, staying present. Yes, you're in this, you're hearing and listening the repetitive messages And I'm reminding you once again not to get down on yourself, but to use the loving voices that are trying to reach you and say, it's time to sober up, whether that's literal or metaphorical in some way. We're being woken up and made to be present to the voice of the angels, the ancestors, and the divine that say, hey, this is a critical time. Don't sleep through this opportunity. It's time for you to come forward and to be the light that you are meant to be in this world, in this time. The light of the world is coming knocking so that you can get that sitting firmly in the base of your gut. In crescent moon, sculpting by the light of the moon here, staying in your cave. Bring your beauty and your artistry out into the world a little bit more. Share some of the beauty that you do create, some of your gifts, some of your music, your talents, your, again, artistry, or your words, or something like this. Self-expression in any way, something that makes you happy. What happened in your day? Taking note of a little flower that you see blooming late in the season, or a little frog or a bee asleep on a flower. All of these things are ways that we can witness the magic of our lives and to tap into the abundant universe, the miracles that are all around us, instead of what is fading from our lives. Don't worry about the lost youth, so to speak, but create that perpetual eternal child in the spirit of regeneration. I saw the chameleon, the lizard regeneration before this reading too. Reflection, absolutely. That's the frame that you're in, reflecting upon choices and outcomes right now. The karmic trench, absolutely. Four of Scrolls. There's a very literal approach here where you're resting, reflecting, and reassessing the reasons why you're drawn to things, such as like food or drink. They can be emotional instability. They can be physical things, like even parasites in your gut can make you crave sugar, because sugar feeds the parasites. Everybody has some parasites. But on the energetic metaphorical level, it's like we need to quit feeding the demons of addiction, the demons of self-denial and playing small and showing ourselves that we don't have the value that we know is inherent to just existing. We need to be the proper vessel, cleansed, cleared, and detoxed to enable the light to shine through us. And so we're really answering and digging out these long rows and long patterns. It's like in our brain, the deep furrows that happen with repeating behavior. It deepens the grooves in the brain and literally digs trenches for ourselves. And so equally, we need to do it more times in the better way to counteract those old habits. So know that there's the potential for backsliding, there's the potential for longing, but get your network around you, utilize prayer, and know that if you speak highly to yourself, you're more willing to stay with it. Focus on that gratitude. It might take some time. We've got spring and autumn. I feel like there's a change of life, change of circumstance, a shift from something that felt good previously into something that's changed. Something has lost its luster. It's like with drinking, for instance. In your 20s, it's one thing. But, as you get older and older, it's like, that's no longer as rewarding. It's no longer cool. When we go in my small town out to eat, there are very few choices, and one of them's the local bar, and you'll see the same old usual suspects bellied up to the bar, and it's sad. And there's there's a whole wide world out there that we could be out there engaging in. Some of these individuals, I feel, are there because they're looking for the social outlet. They're looking for connectivity. And the drink is somewhat of the spirit of depression, the spirits that we're actually drinking in place of true connection. And finally, the Queen of Scrolls. There's that karmic contract there. She's kind of winding it back up. She's taking back her power. She understands logically, literally, what needs to shift and change. She hears the trumpet. She's listening and present. She, he, they, them, whatever you may be. Staying present for this, making a plan, making your list, checking it twice, making a plan, and starting out simply and slowly and being consistent and getting your support in place, being strategic in a way, not going to the bar if you don't want to drink, so to speak, not being around negative people or not having clients or employers that speak garbage into your brain about you or about things that matter to you or toxic otherwise. We're getting back in contact with a supportive, nurturing, loving, unconditionally supportive world. And I know that's far-fetched at this point, but there are seeds everywhere. That yin yang tells us that there is an abundance of whatever we choose to spend our attention towards. And if we're spending our attention and energy towards distraction or addiction or codependency is its own little addiction, playing off of other individuals, the dynamics that occur, fighting for peace, any of this stuff, it's coming up for review because it's affecting and influencing our ability to embody the light fully. So I think we'll end there. Let's see if we can get one more card to finish. Shared inspiration came out previously. Throw yourself into a new project. Be aware of what fulfills your heart. Love where you are. Be grateful. Use your sensitivity to know when to act and connect to your heart to your head when determining what you would like. Something healthier, mutually beneficial venture, something that serves mind, body, and spirit, not one or the other at the expense of. Tomorrow, feeling good tomorrow, those long-term choices. So take good care of yourselves. You are insightful and established, and you're making some big changes at this time in your life. So take good care of yourselves, folks. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.